when we were asked to come out to McGregor to participate in the festival, it was deep in lockdown, and we want to thank Heidi Miller for accommodating us and making sure that of all the arrangements, because eventually it was quite a rewarding trip, and I'm looking forward to telling you about it. Firstly, though, I'd like to dedicate this presentation to Lazelle Erasmus, who was a McGregor local and a quite formidable observer of nature in the McGregor area. Um, a lot of her observations on iNaturalist were quite special and of things that hadn't been seen for a long time. And she's really had built up a reputation. And thanks to the platform, we can still have access to observations and use them for red listing and all the rest of it. So, McGregor, an area which until quite recently was not a headline for amongst the most important botanical areas in the Cape. But I think with the efforts of people like Lazelle and crew, we're busy just discovering how special this place is. And what makes it quite unique, or not unique, but what makes it special is the fact that you've got this varied topography and geology. And as we know, in the Fynbos, that's what drives the diversity. And in this map from Cape Farm Mapper, we can see the vegetation situation. So with Vrolijkheid Nature Reserve top right, and the town in the middle of the picture there, McGregor, you can see that there's significant variation from the Robertson Karoo up into the Brede Shoal and Osveld on the mid slopes, and as you head south into the North Sondering Sandstone Fynbos. And that the distance from McGregor to the pass where we've done observations is 8 kilometers as the crow flies. And we were able to pick up quite a lot of variation as we went. But first, we started at Vrolijkheid Nature Reserve on the 6th of August. This was our first Bio-Blitz that had been done in lockdown. I think it was still level 3 at this stage. And again, the organizers from McGregor, Heidi and team, organized a fantastic turnout of more than 15 people to come out on a chilly morning to Vrolijkheid Nature Reserve, where we did a briefing and then went out and had some fun in the veld. It warmed up nicely, and I saw things that I've never seen before, including this Hermania flower being used as an earring by one of the young participants. So if you've never been on an iNaturalist Bio-Blitz before, the aim is to get out with like-minded people and to observe as many natural things as possible. And not just restricted to plants, although that's my primary focus, but I picked up things like this aardvark hole, insects, spoor, and also it was very hard to miss this Brian Huntler intrusive vygie, which is an endemic to the Robertson Karoo vegetation type. Interestingly, it's one of 2 vygies that are restricted only to that, and they're both alone in their genus. So, yeah, I've got to pause and say, although we had more than 15 attendees, up till now, only 5 observers have uploaded all the observations onto iNaturalist. So these are very preliminary results. But already it was quite a rewarding day because of the good rains that there'd been in the Vrolijkheid area. There was a lot flowering, and I think there'll still be a lot flowering at this moment in time. And so you see only 54 species were observed on the day so far. But when we drill down into those, 18 of those were not on the Cape Nature list. So I've obtained the Cape Nature Reserve List, and there are 306 species recorded, which is pretty decent. And just in a morning, we've observed 18 additional species. And these are not insignificant little things, but include something like this Astroloba rubriflora, which is an endemic also to the vegetation type, to Robertson Karoo. And I really like it because it's nice to have a plant that you can identify when it's not in flower, so any time of the year, as well as Pelargonium violiflorum, which is an endangered geophytic pelargonium in section Horia, and flowers later on. But even something as eye-catching as Babiana patula. And this just shows that there's significant scope for people to keep on going back to areas, even protected areas, and being able to contribute to the inventories of these places. After our Bio-Blitz, we went for a bit of a drive, and Ishmael from Crew put together this ID guide of some of the species that we were likely to see. And it was a little bit like shooting fish in a bucket. And shows really how much there's still to be seen around McGregor area. So what we did was we followed the road through McGregor and up towards Galgenberg eventually. And as we passed through the different vegetation types, we really ticked off a couple of these species really easily. So another one of those endemic facies, Steineria neelii, it's only found in and adjacent to Robertson Karoo, and it was right next to the road. This is a slightly deceptive picture because of the fact that there is a dam just behind this ridge that you can't really see. So this is a little sliver of roadside vegetation, and it looks to be quite an interesting geology as well. It's a clay shale that we didn't really pick up along the road again. Further on, there was a plowed field on the right, and luckily Aspalathus candicans quite likes disturbance, and it was resprouting from in between the shrubs. We ended kind of halfway up the pass as the weather started closing in, and Lycodendron burchelli was looking absolutely spectacular in this faded light. And that just shows really, in a very short spread of time, the massive variation that there is in the McGregor area. And we're looking forward to coming back again and recording more of it as we go along, working with people from McGregor and the region. So conservation doesn't happen without people, and here are some of the ex-colleagues of mine from Vrolijkheid. So that's Corné Klaassen, Jason Valentine, Rudy Davids, and Garth Mortimer, who all work in the area. Two other people that are quite active in the area is Ishmael Ibrahim from Crew, and Karina Becker, who's the conservation manager of the Rooiberg Brederrivier Conservancy. So she's just north of the McGregor area. So thank you for paying attention, and I hope that we can see you come and visit us on the Botsok website. We're very keen to do more in the area. We want to be supporting the Karoo National Botanical Garden and working with interested volunteers in the Upper Breda region. And we look forward to seeing you on a future Bio-Blitz. Thank you very much.